Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there is this expectation of total precision.
Right, yeah. Like it's just very clinical.
Exactly. It's almost like engineering, You fall, you break your arm, they take an x-ray, and it shows that jagged white line, and the doctor just points at the screen and says, there it is. That is the problem.
Right. It's binary. It's very clear. And I mean, honestly, it's very comforting. As humans, we really like things to be visible. We like problems that we can easily categorize and just, put in a box.
Yes, exactly. But then you step into the messy world of human emotions, and suddenly that x-ray machine is completely useless.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all.
Right. You are having a terrible day. You feel heavy. You feel incredibly overwhelmed, and like your chest physically hurts. But there is no x-ray for an emotional wound. And because it is invisible, society often tells us to just pretend is not there.
Which is incredibly damaging.
It really is. Which is why in today's deep dive, we are looking at the actual biological science of crying and the psychology behind why we hide our tears.
It is such a vital topic. We live in a world of information overload, but we also live in a world of emotional overload.
Yeah.
We are constantly receiving messages from society about how we are supposed to feel.
Oh, absolutely.
And understanding why we cry and why it is actually a biological necessity is absolutely crucial for our mental health and just our critical thinking in general.
Yeah, and we have a really special stack of sources today for you. They explore a very simple theme, which is it's okay to cry. And our mission for this deep dive is to unpack a few specific things.
Right.
We are going to explore why society's obsession with being positive all the time is actually doing you harm. We will look at the hidden mechanisms behind our tears. And because the materials we are working from today are specifically designed for English learners, we are going to act as your friendly guides.
Yeah, we're going to take it a little easier today.
Exactly. We will be using slightly simpler vocabulary and taking our time to clearly explain some incredibly useful English phrases that will help you better support yourself and the people you love.
That's right. We will speak deliberately, and we will make sure that both the complex psychological concepts and the English words used to describe them are easy to grasp.
We want to make it super accessible.
Right, because we want you to walk away from this deep dive, not just understanding the science, but also having the language to apply it in your own life.
I am so ready for this. I think this is relevant for literally anyone listening. I mean, I know I have had countless moments where I felt completely overwhelmed, but I tried to push it down.
Oh, same here. So many times.
I tried to put on a brave face because I thought that was simply what an adult was supposed to do.
We all do it. Society conditions us to do it. And the dynamic brings us right into the first major concept from our sources, the intense social pressure of maintaining good vibes only.
Oh, that phrase. Let's set the scene based on the text. Imagine you were feeling incredibly low. You are facing a real heavy problem in your life.
Okay, picture that.
You go to a close friend for some comfort, and your friend looks at you and says, don't think too much. Or they tell you, just think positive. Or maybe they use the classic, everything happens for a reason, it's all for the best.
Ugh, yes. Those are extremely common responses. And the tricky part is, the person saying those things usually thinks they are being very helpful.
Right, they mean well.
Exactly. They think they're throwing you a lifeline.
But let me push back on this a little bit, or at least play devil's advocate for a second. Isn't being positive generally a good thing? I mean, we want to be resilient, right?
Well, yes, resilience is good, but
Because if I'm sad and my friend tells me to think positive, aren't they just trying to help me get out of a bad mood? Why does hearing that actually make us feel worse instead of better?
it's a great question.
Because I've noticed when someone tells me to just be positive, when I am genuinely hurting, I don't feel comforted. I actually feel guilty. I feel like I am doing something wrong just by being sad.
And that guilt you feel, that is the absolute core of the problem. It is the dividing line between genuine optimism and what our sources call toxic positivity.
Okay, toxic positivity.
Yes, this is a crucial English phrase to understand. Let's look at the words for you. Positivity is the state of being optimistic, looking for the good in things. That is healthy. But toxic means poisonous or deeply harmful.
So toxic positivity is like a poisonous kind of happiness.
Exactly.
It sounds like a total contradiction.
Okay.
How can happiness be poisonous?
It becomes poisonous when it is forced. Toxic positivity is the excessive, unnatural pursuit of positive emotions. It is this rigid idea that no matter how difficult or painful a situation is, a person should always maintain a positive mindset.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. The reason it is harmful, the reason it exhausts you, is because it forces you to constantly suppress your real emotions.
Okay, let's pause and highlight that word for you, the listener. Suppress. To suppress something means to push it down by force, to hide it.
Right, to not let it out.
The sources use this great analogy. It is like trying to hold a giant beach ball underwater.
Oh, I love that one.
Right. You are intentionally stopping yourself from feeling or showing your natural emotion, and it takes a massive amount of physical and mental energy to keep that beach ball pushed down.
That is a brilliant analogy. When society pushes this culture of good vibes only, which, by the way, is another phrase from our texts.
Oh, right. Let's define that one, too.
Yeah. Good vibes only means a space where people only accept positive energy and actively reject any negative emotions. When society pushes this, we internalize a very dangerous lie.
What's the lie?
We start to believe that feeling sad or angry or lost is a personal failure. We suppress our natural reactions because we are afraid of ruining the good vibes.
Wow. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And the sources use a really vivid metaphor to explain why this suppression is so damaging.
The sticker metaphor, right?
Yeah. Yes. Imagine you have a deep, painful cut on your arm. It is bleeding. Using a fake smile, a smile that is just pretend, an act you put on for other people, is exactly like taking a pretty happy face sticker and slapping it right over that deep wound.
It is a striking image, isn't it? Because we all know what happens biologically if you do that.
Exactly. If you put a plastic sticker over a real wound, it might look nice to the people walking by. They just see a happy face. But what is happening underneath?
Nothing good.
Right. The wound is not getting any air. It is not being cleaned. It is not healing. Because it is covered up and ignored, it festers. The bacteria multiply. It gets severely infected underneath that plastic mask.
And that biological reality perfectly mirrors our psychological reality. When you put a fake smile over real emotional pain, the pain does not magically vanish just because you were ignoring it.
It doesn't just go away.
No, it stays inside you, it grows.
Yeah.
And worse, it creates this profound sense of isolation. You are suffering, but because you are wearing the happy sticker, no one knows you are suffering.
That's so lonely.
Extremely lonely. The cognitive dissonance, the gap between how you feel on the inside and how you are forcing yourself to act on the outside, completely drains your mental energy.
You just end up exhausted from the performance. So to make sure I am wrapping my head around the vocabulary here for our listeners.
Go for it.
When the culture demands good vibes only, they're actually forcing us to suppress our true feelings. We put on a fake smile, which leads directly to the trap of toxic positivity.
Precisely. You've connected those concepts perfectly.
Okay, so it's suppressing our emotions is like putting a plastic sticker over an infected wound. That raises a massive question.
Which is?
If holding it all back is biologically and psychologically harmful, what is the actual cure? What happens when we take the sticker off? What is the healthy biological response to pain?
The healthy response is the exact thing society so often tells us we shouldn't do. The healthy response is to cry.
And this brings us to the science, which I found completely fascinating. Let's talk about the biology and the real courage behind our tears.
Let's do it. For generations, society has branded crying as a weakness. Let's look at how we use that word in English. We use weakness to describe a flaw, a lack of strength, or something that is easily broken.
Right, like a weak bridge or a weak muscle.
Exactly. We are taught that if you shed a tear, you have lost your strength. But the biological science completely rejects this social label.
This was my absolute favorite part of the research. Crying is not a weakness. It is actually an incredibly advanced protection mechanism built into the human brain. We are quite literally designed to cry to survive.
What is so fascinating here is the microscopic chemistry of a tear. You see, not all tears are made of the same ingredients.
Wait, really? I just thought tears were, salty water.
Not exactly. If you are walking down the street and a gust of wind blows dust into your eye will water to wash out the dirt. Yep. That is called a reflex tear. It is mostly just water and antibodies.
Okay, makes sense.
But emotional tears, the tears that fall when you are deeply sad, incredibly frustrated, or severely overwhelmed, are chemically different from reflex tears.
Right, and here is where it gets really interesting. Researchers have analyzed the chemical composition of emotional tears, and they found that they actually contain cortisol.
Yes, and for context, for our listeners, cortisol is the primary stress hormone in the human body.
The fight or flight stuff.
Exactly. When you are under intense pressure, your brain floods your bloodstream with cortisol to keep you on high alert.
Sure.
But if that cortisol stays in your body for too long, it causes massive damage to your immune system, your heart, and your mental health.
So let's connect those dots. Emotional tears contain cortisol. That means when you are crying because you are upset, your body is literally physically filtering the stress hormone out of your bloodstream and pushing it out of your body through your eyes.
It is a biological release valve. Your lacrimal glands, the tear glands, are acting like tiny water treatment plants, filtering out the toxic stress.
That is incredible.
And furthermore, the physical act of crying stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. That is the part of your nervous system that tells your body to rest and digest. It actively turns off the fight or flight panic mode.
I love the English phrase the text uses to describe this process. Crying is an emotional detox.
Yes, great phrase.
For those learning the term, detox is short for detoxification. It means removing poisons or harmful substances from your body. People talk about doing a juice cleanse to detox their liver.
Right, or sweating in a sauna.
Exactly. But crying is a literal emotional detox. You are physically sweating out your stress, anxiety, and grief through your eyes.
When you understand the mechanism that your body is performing a highly advanced emotional detox to regulate your nervous system and keep you alive, how could anyone possibly call that a weakness?
They can't. It makes no sense at all. And that is exactly why the sources ask us to completely redefine our idea of bravery.
We really need to.
We have this Hollywood image of what true courage looks like, right? It's the emotionless robot. It is the action hero who walks away from an explosion, never cries, never flinches, and just powers through the pain with a blank face.
But the text argues the complete opposite. True courage isn't pretending you aren't hurt. True courage is being brave enough to be vulnerable.
Vulnerable. That is a beautiful, essential English word. Let's unpack it.
Let's do it. Vulnerability is the state of being exposed. It means you are open to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally.
Okay.
If you think of a knight in battle, vulnerability is the moment they take off their thick metal armor.
And taking off your armor is terrifying.
Extremely terrifying.
It is so much easier to keep the heavy armor on. It is easier to wear the fake smile, to pretend you are the emotionless robot, to use toxic positivity as a shield. Looking directly at your own pain, acknowledging to yourself that you are hurting, and actually letting yourself cry late at night in your room. Well, that takes massive, undeniable courage.
It really does. It requires you to be fiercely honest with yourself. There is a phrase in our source material that captures this beautiful contradiction. Vulnerability is strength.
Vulnerability is strength. It sounds just like the toxic positivity contradiction we talked about earlier, but in reverse.
Exactly.
It takes immense internal strength to lay down your defenses and look at your pain without running away from it.
And because vulnerability is strength, the text gives us a very clear instruction when we feel those emotions rising. The phrase is, cry it out.
Oh, cry it out.
Yes. When native English speakers say cry it out, they mean you should allow the crying to happen fully until it naturally stops on its own. You don't try to stop halfway through. You let the emotional detox finish its complete cycle.
Okay, so this is all incredibly profound. We now understand the trap of toxic positivity. We know that crying is a biological detox, a release of cortisol, and a sign of true vulnerability and courage. But, let's bring this down to earth. Let's talk about our daily lives. Knowing the science is great, but in the real world, when you are about to cry or when your best friend is sitting in front of you sobbing, what do you actually do?
It's the million-dollar question.
How do we break the habit of choking back our tears?
That brings us to the final and perhaps most practical section of our sources, learning to sit with your emotions. The text provides a very specific technique. The next time sadness hits you, the very first critical step is to notice and stop your own inner voice from saying, don't cry.
Because we all do that instinctively, don't we?
Almost automatically.
The tears start welling up in our eyes, our throat gets tight, and we immediately tell ourselves, no, stop it, pull it together, don't cry, you're embarrassing yourself.
Yes, because of years of social conditioning. But instead of fighting that rising tide, the text advises us to practice something called sitting with your emotion.
To sit with your emotion is such a vivid, gentle phrase. It means you don't run away from the sadness. You don't immediately pull out your phone to distract yourself.
No scrolling.
Right. You don't try to instantly fix the problem. You just metaphorically pull up a chair and you let the emotion exist right next to you in the room.
To do this effectively, especially at first, the text says you need to find a safe environment. A safe environment is a secure place, either physical or psychological, where you know you will not be judged for being vulnerable.
So like maybe it is your bedroom with the door locked, or sitting in your parked car.
Exactly. You find that safe space, you let the tears flow, and you accompany yourself. The text uses a really touching comparison here. It says you should comfort yourself as gently as you would comfort a wounded child.
Think about that. If you saw a small, wounded child crying on the sidewalk, you would never yell at them to think positive.
Of course not.
You wouldn't tell them they were being weak. You would just sit down next to them and hold them.
Precisely. And this gentle approach is vital, not just for how we treat ourselves, but for how we support the people we love. We have to actively unlearn what the sources call toxic comfort and replace it with true comfort.
I think this distinction is the most actionable part of our whole deep dive today. Let's really break this down for our listeners.
That's a great idea.
Let's run through some real-world scenarios. I will play the role of the person offering the common mistakes, the toxic comfort. You explain the hidden psychology of why my advice is actually harmful.
Okay.
And then give us the high-quality, gentle English alternative that we should use instead.
I love this idea. This will make the vocabulary very clear and practical. Let's do it.
Okay, scenario number 1. My friend comes to me, they are crying because they are totally overwhelmed by life, and I pat them on the back and say, hey, don't cry, stay strong.
Ouch. Yeah, that is classic toxic comfort.
Why is that so bad? It sounds supportive.
Because the underlying message there is that crying is the opposite of being strong. It reinforces the lie that tears are a weakness. It is a subtle demand for them to suppress their emotion.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it that way.
Instead of saying that, use this phrase for true comfort. Let it all out. I'm here.
Let it all out. I'm here. That feels so different. Let it all out means release absolutely everything. Do not hold a single drop back.
Yes, you are giving them explicit permission to complete their emotional detox.
Exactly. And by adding, I'm here, you are instantly creating that safe environment for them just with your presence.
Perfectly said. What's the next scenario?
Okay, scenario number 2. My friend is incredibly upset over a massive mistake they made at work. They feel like a failure. I want to cheer them up, so I say, hey, it's not a big deal. Smile.
That one is deeply invalidating. Yeah. When you tell someone it's not a big deal, you are basically telling them that their internal reality is wrong. You are minimizing their pain.
Right.
And demanding that they smile when they are actively grieving is the literal definition of demanding a fake smile. You are handing them the pretty sticker and telling them to cover up their wound.
And I'm probably doing it because my own discomfort with their sadness makes me want them to stop crying.
Yeah.
I want them to smile so I feel better.
Exactly. It's about your comfort, not theirs. So what is the alternative?
Tell us.
Instead, say this. It's okay to not be okay.
Oh, it's okay to not be okay. I absolutely love that phrase. It is such a modern, profoundly empathetic English idiom.
It really is.
It completely dismantles the trap of toxic positivity. It officially declares that negative emotions are a normal, perfectly acceptable part of the human experience.
It removes the friction. It gives them permission to just be a messy, hurting human being without feeling guilty about it.
Okay, the final scenario. My friend just went through a terrible, heartbreaking breakup. I want to give them hope for the future, so I say, you should look on the bright side. There are plenty of fish in the sea.
That is perhaps the most common form of good vibes only behavior.
It's so cliche.
Very much so. Looking on the bright side forces the person to ignore the dark, painful reality they are currently standing in. It rushes them. It demands that they feel better before they are actually biologically or psychologically ready to move on.
So how do I offer true comfort without rushing them?
Use this phrase. Take your time. I'm listening.
Take your time. I'm listening. There is zero pressure in that sentence, no demand to fix the problem right this second. Just pure, unadulterated support.
Right.
You're pulling up a chair and offering to sit with their emotion alongside them.
Notice the fundamental difference in the psychology here. All of the toxic comfort phrases are about trying to escape or change the present moment.
Oh, yeah.
But all of the true comfort phrases, let it all out, it's okay to not be okay, I'm listening, are about bravely accepting the present moment, exactly as painful as it is.
That is a brilliant observation. Accepting the pain is what actually allows it to pass through you. This has been such a powerful journey today.
It really has.
Let's do a quick recap of the massive ground we've covered in our sources. We started by learning to spot and reject the trap of toxic positivity.
Right.
We realize that forcing a fake smile and demanding good vibes only is like slapping a sticker over an infected wound. It just causes our emotional pain to fester.
Then we looked at the incredible biology of crying. We discovered that tears are the furthest thing from a weakness. They are a brave, biological, emotional detox.
Literally flushing out stress.
Yes, emotional tears literally filter the stress hormone cortisol out of our bloodstream, allowing our nervous systems to reset.
And finally, we learned how to translate that science into action by offering true comfort. We explored gentle, validating English phrases like, it's okay to not be okay, and let it all out, ensuring we know how to create a safe environment for ourselves and the people we care about.
In the source material we reviewed, the authors actually provide a tool to help rewire our thinking around crying. It is a daily healing affirmation.
Oh, let's share that.
An affirmation is simply a positive statement you repeat to yourself to slowly change your internal script. The text suggests looking in the mirror and saying this specific phrase: "My tears are a sign of my courage. It is safe for me to feel sad."
Let me repeat that slowly. My tears are a sign of my courage. It is safe for me to feel sad. Just hearing that out loud feels like it lifts a weight off your chest. It takes away all the manufactured guilt.
It really does.
Yeah.
It gives you your humanity back. And as we wrap up our duck dive today,
Yep.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something for you to explore on your own that builds on the biological science we discussed.
I am ready for it. What is the big question?
We learned today that emotional tears literally contain the stress hormone cortisol. We learned that the physical act of crying allows us to biologically excrete our anxiety and shift our nervous systems out of panic mode.
Right.
So my question for you to consider is this: what happens to the physical bodies and the minds of all the people who stubbornly refuse to ever let themselves cry? If that cortisol isn't leaving through their tears, where does all that uncried stress go?
Wow. That is a heavy, deeply important question. If the stress isn't being released, it means it is staying trapped inside. It is damaging their bodies. It is festering, just like that wound hidden under the plastic sticker.
Something to really think about next time you feel those tears welling up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you learned some fascinating psychology, picked up some genuinely comforting English vocabulary, and most importantly, we hope you remember that the next time you feel overwhelmed, taking off your armor is the bravest thing you can do. It really is okay to cry. Take care of yourselves out there, and we will catch you next time.